Daughter kept asking about a game her teacher played. What the camera footage showed was horrific. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the schoolyard as Samantha pulled up to the curb, scanning the crowd of children for her daughter's familiar face. It had been a long day at work, and Samantha was looking forward to hearing about Lucy's day at school. As if on cue, a blur of purple and pink came bounding towards the car, pigtails flying.
Mom, Mom.
Lucy's excited voice rang out as she yanked open the car door and tumbled into the back seat. You won't believe what happened at school today. Samantha couldn't help but smile at her daughter's enthusiasm. Well, hello to you too, sweetie. What's got you so excited? Lucy's eyes sparkled as she buckled her seatbelt. We played this really fun game today. Mr. Turner made us all play, and it was the best thing ever. As Samantha pulled away from the curb, she glanced at Lucy in the rearview mirror. That sounds great, honey. What kind of game was it? Lucy's grin widened. It's our secret game. She told us not to tell anyone. But it was so much fun. Samantha felt a small knot form in her stomach. A secret game? Why would a teacher ask children to keep a game secret? She tried to keep her voice light as she probed further. A secret game? That's interesting. Can you tell me anything about it? Lucy shook her head emphatically. Nope. Mr. Turner said it's supposed to be a surprise. But we get to play it again soon. As they drove home, Lucy chattered on about other parts of her day. The book they read in class, the funny joke her friend Tommy told at lunch. But Samantha's mind kept circling back to the mysterious game. She tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was preparation for a school play or a surprise for the parents at the next open house. But something about the secrecy didn't sit right with her. That evening, as Samantha helped Lucy with her homework, she casually brought up the game again. So, this secret game, does everyone in your class play it? Lucy nodded enthusiastically.
Yep.
Even Jimmy, and he never wants to play anything. But Mr. Turner made it so fun that even he liked it. Samantha's unease grew. A teacher insisting that all students participate in a secret activity. It seemed odd, to say the least. But Lucy's obvious joy and excitement made Samantha hesitant to push too hard. Maybe she was overreacting. After all, Lucy adored Mr. Turner and had never given any indication that she felt uncomfortable or unsafe at school. As she tucked Lucy into bed that night, Samantha couldn't shake the nagging feeling in the back of her mind. You know you can always tell me anything, right, Lucy? She said, smoothing her daughter's hair. Even if someone tells you to keep a secret, if it makes you feel bad or scared, you can always tell me. Lucy yawned, snuggling deeper under her covers. I know, Mom, but this is a good secret. You'll see. Samantha kissed her daughter's forehead and turned out the light. As she closed the door, she resolved to keep a closer eye on the situation. If Lucy mentioned the game again, she'd try to get more information. And if her concerns persisted, she'd reach out to the school. For now, though, she tried to push her worries aside. Lucy was happy and excited about school. Wasn't that what mattered most? Still, as Samantha went about her evening routine, she couldn't quite shake the feeling that there was more to this mysterious game than met the eye. Little did she know, this was just the beginning of a situation that would challenge her trust, spark her maternal instincts, and ultimately lead to unexpected consequences for everyone involved. The next few days passed in a blur of routine. Morning rushes to get out the door, long hours at work, evenings filled with homework, dinner, and bedtime stories. But through it all, Samantha found her thoughts repeatedly drifting back to Lucy's mysterious secret game. Each day when she picked Lucy up from school, Samantha would casually ask about her day, hoping to glean more information about the game. And each day, Lucy's responses followed a similar pattern. We played the game again today, Lucy would exclaim, her eyes shining with excitement. Oh, can you tell me more about it? Samantha would probe gently. And inevitably, Lucy would shrug or change the subject. It's just something we do in class, she'd say dismissively, before launching into a story about recess or a funny thing her friend said at lunch. Samantha's unease grew with each evasive answer. She prided herself on her open relationship with Lucy. They had always been able to talk about anything. This sudden secrecy felt out of character, and it left Samantha feeling unsettled. One evening, as they sat at the kitchen table, Lucy working on her math homework while Samantha prepared dinner, Samantha decided to try a different approach. "Hey, Lucy," she said, keeping her tone casual. "I was thinking about that game you've been playing at school. It sounds like a lot of fun. Does Mr. Turner explain the rules to you all before you play?" Lucy's pencil paused mid-equation. She looked up at Samantha, her brow furrowed slightly. "Mom, I told you it's a secret. We're not supposed to talk about it." Samantha felt a chill run down her spine at the seriousness in her daughter's voice. "I know, sweetie, but you know there shouldn't be secrets between us, right? Especially not about things that happen at school." Lucy's lower lip trembled slightly. "But Mr. Turner said," she said it was a special surprise, "that we couldn't tell anyone or it would ruin it." Samantha set down the knife she'd been using to chop vegetables and moved to sit next to Lucy. "Honey, I understand that Mr. Turner asked you to keep it a secret, but as your mom, it's my job to know what's going on in your life, especially at school. Can you help me understand why this game needs to be a secret?" Lucy squirmed in her seat, clearly torn between her loyalty to her teacher and her desire to be honest with her mother. I don't know," she said finally. "Mr. Turner just said it was part of the fun, that it was like a surprise party. You don't tell someone about their surprise party, right?" Samantha nodded slowly, trying to process this information. On one hand, framing it as a surprise party made the secrecy seem more innocent. On the other hand, the idea of a teacher encouraging students to keep secrets from their parents for an extended period still didn't sit right with her. "Lucy," Samantha said gently, "I want you to know that you're not in trouble. I'm just trying to understand. Does this game make you feel happy? Or does it ever make you feel uncomfortable or scared?" Lucy's eyes widened. "No, Mom. It's really fun. We all love it. Even Brian, and he hates everything." Samantha felt some of the tension leave her body at Lucy's emphatic response. Whatever this game was, it didn't seem to be causing Lucy any distress. Still, the secrecy nagged at her. As the days wore on, Samantha noticed other small changes in Lucy's behavior. She seemed more excited about school than usual, practically bouncing out of bed in the mornings. But she was also quieter in the evenings, less forthcoming about the details of her day. Samantha found herself analyzing every interaction, every offhand comment Lucy made about school. Was there a hidden meaning behind Lucy's excitement about Thursdays, when they apparently played the game most often? Was there significance to the way Lucy would sometimes glance at her out of the corner of her eye, as if gauging her reaction when the subject of school came up? The not knowing was starting to wear on Samantha. She considered reaching out to other parents, but hesitated. What if she was overreacting? What if, by voicing her concerns, she created a problem where there wasn't one? Still, as she lay in bed each night, Samantha couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. The secrecy, the evasiveness, the subtle changes in Lucy's behavior, it all added up to a mystery that Samantha felt compelled to solve. Little did she know, the truth behind the mysterious game would soon come to light, in a way that would challenge her perceptions and leave her questioning the balance between trust, transparency, and the sometimes blurry lines of appropriate behavior in the classroom. As the weeks wore on, Samantha found herself becoming increasingly attuned to every mention of school, every nuance in Lucy's behavior. It was exhausting, this constant state of alertness, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she was missing something important. One Tuesday afternoon, as they drove home from school, Lucy was practically vibrating with excitement in the back seat. "Mom, guess what? We played the game again today." Samantha felt her grip tighten on the steering wheel. "Oh, that's nice, sweetie. Was it fun?" Lucy nodded enthusiastically. "It was the best. Mr. Turner says we're getting really good at it. She told us we're the best class she's ever had for this game." Samantha's mind raced. The best class for what, exactly? What kind of game required such specific skills that a teacher would rank her students against previous classes? She tried to keep her voice casual as she probed further. "That's great that you're all enjoying it so much. Can you tell me a little bit about what makes you so good at it?" For a moment, Samantha thought Lucy might actually answer. But then she saw her daughter's expression close off in the rearview mirror. "We're not supposed to tell anyone," Lucy said, her voice suddenly small. "It's a surprise." Samantha felt a surge of frustration. "Lucy, honey, I know Mr. Turner asked you to keep it a secret, but you know there shouldn't be secrets between us, right? Especially not about things that happen at school." Lucy squirmed in her seat, clearly uncomfortable. "I know, Mom, but we promised. And Mr. Turner says keeping promises is important." Samantha took a deep breath, trying to calm the whirlwind of emotions churning inside her. On one hand, she was proud of Lucy for understanding the importance of keeping her word. On the other hand, the idea that a teacher was actively encouraging students to keep secrets from their parents set off every alarm bell in Samantha's head. That evening, after Lucy had gone to bed, Samantha sat at the kitchen table, a cold cup of tea forgotten before her. She pulled out her phone, staring at the school's contact information on the screen. Should she call? Was she overreacting? What if she was wrong and ended up damaging Lucy's relationship with her teacher? Or worse, making Lucy feel like she couldn't trust her mother's judgment. But then Samantha remembered the look on Lucy's face in the car, the conflict, the discomfort at being pressed for information. Whatever this game was, the secrecy surrounding it was clearly putting strain on Lucy, even if the game itself was enjoyable. With a surge of determination, Samantha made a decision. Tomorrow she would call the school. She needed answers, and if the school couldn't or wouldn't provide them, she would find another way to get to the bottom of this mystery. As she finally headed to bed, Samantha's mind whirled with possibilities. What could this game possibly be? Why the need for such secrecy? And most importantly, was Lucy safe? Little did Samantha know, the answers to these questions would come soon, and in a way that would challenge her perceptions, test her trust, and ultimately lead to consequences that no one could have anticipated. The next morning, after dropping Lucy off at school, Samantha sat in her car in the school parking lot, her phone in her hand. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for the conversation ahead, and dialed the school's number. "Oakwood Elementary, how may I help you?" The receptionist's cheerful voice came through the speaker. "Hello, this is Samantha Wilson, Lucy Wilson's mother. I need to speak with Principal Thompson, please. It's regarding a concern I have about my daughter's class." There was a brief pause, and then, "Of course, Mr. Wilson. I'll transfer you now." As the hold music played, Samantha's heart raced. Was she doing the right thing? What if she was blowing this all out of proportion? "Principal Thompson speaking." A deep voice suddenly came through the line. Samantha took a deep breath. "Good morning, Principal Thompson. I'm calling because I have some concerns about an activity happening in my daughter's classroom." She went on to explain the situation, the mysterious game, the secrecy, and her growing unease. As she spoke, she could hear the principal's breathing change, becoming more focused and concerned. "Mr. Wilson," he said when she finished, his voice grave, "I want to thank you for bringing this to my attention. Any activity that involves secrecy from parents is not in line with our school's policies. I assure you, we will investigate this matter thoroughly and immediately." Relief washed over Samantha. She wasn't overreacting. Her concerns were being taken seriously. "What are the next steps?" she asked. "I'll be reviewing the classroom camera footage and speaking with Mr. Turner directly," Principal Thompson explained. "We take the safety and well-being of our students very seriously. I'll get back to you as soon as we have more information." As Samantha hung up, she felt a mix of emotions: relief that action was being taken, anxiety about what might be uncovered, and a twinge of guilt for potentially getting Lucy's beloved teacher in trouble. But she pushed that last feeling aside. If nothing was wrong, the investigation would prove it. And if something was amiss, it needed to be addressed. The rest of the day passed in a blur of distraction. Samantha found herself checking her phone constantly, hoping for an update from the school. By the time she picked Lucy up, she was a bundle of nerves. "How was school today, sweetie?" she asked, trying to keep her voice casual. Lucy shrugged. "It was okay. Mr. Turner seemed kind of upset about something, though. We didn't get to play the game today." Samantha's stomach clenched. Had the investigation already begun? What had happened in that classroom today? That evening, as Samantha was helping Lucy with her homework, her phone rang. It was Principal Thompson. "Mr. Wilson, we've completed our initial investigation," he said, his voice serious. "I'd like you to come in tomorrow morning to discuss our findings. Can you be here at 8 a.m. before classes start?" Samantha agreed, her mind racing. What had they found? Was Lucy in danger? Had she been right to worry all along? As she tucked Lucy into bed that night, Samantha held her daughter a little tighter than usual. "I love you, Lucy," she whispered. "You know you can always tell me anything, right?" Lucy nodded sleepily. "I know, Mom. I love you too." Samantha lay awake for hours that night, her mind conjuring worst-case scenarios. By the time her alarm went off the next morning, she was exhausted but wired with nervous energy. She dropped Lucy off at her before-school program, then made her way to the principal's office, her heart pounding with each step. As she entered, she saw Principal Thompson sitting behind his desk, his expression unreadable. "Mr. Wilson, thank you for coming in," he said, gesturing for her to take a seat. "We've reviewed the classroom footage and spoken with Mr. Turner. What we've discovered is, well, it's not what any of us expected." Samantha leaned forward, her hands clenched tightly in her lap. "What is it? What's been happening in that classroom?" Principal Thompson took a deep breath. "Mr. Wilson, I think it's best if you see for yourself. I have the relevant footage queued up here." He turned his computer monitor towards her and pressed play. As the video began, Samantha held her breath, unprepared for what she was about to see. The video footage flickered to life on the principal's monitor, showing Lucy's classroom from a high angle. Samantha leaned in, her heart racing as she watched Mr. Turner gather the children in a circle. "Okay, class." Mr. Turner's voice came through clearly, excitement evident in her tone. "Are you ready for our special game?" The children cheered, and Samantha felt a knot form in her stomach. But what happened next was nothing like she had imagined. Mr. Turner began handing out cleaning supplies, small brooms, dustpans, sponges, and spray bottles filled with what looked like soapy water. The children, far from being confused or reluctant, seemed thrilled. "Remember," Mr. Turner said, "this is our secret mission to make our school beautiful. We're going to surprise everyone with how clean and shiny we can make things." Samantha watched in stunned silence as the class, including Lucy, enthusiastically set about cleaning the classroom. They wiped down desks, swept the floor, and even organized bookshelves. Mr. Turner had turned the entire process into a game, complete with teams, points, and small prizes for the most thorough cleaning. The children were laughing, racing each other to finish tasks, and genuinely seeming to have fun. Lucy's face was bright with excitement as she carefully arranged markers in a drawer, clearly taking pride in her work. As the video ended, Samantha sat back in her chair, a mix of emotions washing over her. Relief that nothing sinister was happening, confusion about why this was being kept secret, and a touch of embarrassment for having assumed the worst. Principal Thompson cleared his throat. "As you can see, Mr. Turner's secret game was actually a rather creative approach to getting the children involved in classroom maintenance." However, Samantha nodded, understanding dawning. "It's not appropriate for the students to be doing janitorial work, is it? Even if they think it's fun?" "Exactly," Principal Thompson agreed. While Mr. Turner's intentions were good, teaching responsibility and teamwork, having students perform these tasks raises several concerns. There are safety issues, potential liability problems, and it takes time away from actual instruction. Samantha's mind was reeling. But why the secrecy? Why tell the children not to talk about it? Principal Thompson sighed. According to Mr. Turner, she thought framing it as a secret mission would make it more exciting for the children. She didn't want them to realize they were essentially doing chores. She also, she admitted she was concerned parents might object if they knew. Samantha felt a pang of sympathy for Mr. Turner. The teacher had clearly been trying to do something positive, even if her methods were misguided. "What happens now?" Samantha asked. Principal Thompson's expression turned grave. Unfortunately, regardless of her intentions, Mr. Turner violated several school policies. We'll be placing her on administrative leave while we determine the appropriate next steps. We'll also be informing all the parents in the class about what's been happening." Samantha nodded, feeling a complex mix of emotions. She was relieved that Lucy had never been in any danger, but she felt guilty for setting in motion events that might cost Mr. Turner her job. At the same time, she knew she had done the right thing by speaking up. As she left the principal's office, Samantha's mind was already turning to how she would explain all of this to Lucy. She knew her daughter would be upset about the possibility of losing her beloved teacher, but this whole situation had reinforced for Samantha the importance of open communication between parents, children, and schools. Walking to her car, Samantha realized that while the mystery of the secret game had been solved, the repercussions of this incident were only beginning to unfold. The coming days and weeks would bring challenges for everyone involved, but Samantha was determined to use this as a learning experience for herself, for Lucy, and hopefully for the school as a whole. The news spread through Oakwood Elementary like wildfire. By the time Samantha picked Lucy up from school that afternoon, it was clear that the children had been told that their secret game would no longer be played. Lucy climbed into the car, her usual post-school exuberance notably absent. "Mom," she said, her voice small, "is Mr. Turner in trouble because of our cleaning game?" Samantha's heart clenched. She had been preparing for this conversation, but it still felt daunting. "Honey, let's talk about this at home, okay? I promise I'll explain everything." Once they were settled at the kitchen table with snacks, Samantha took a deep breath. "Lucy, do you remember how we've talked about there being different jobs for grown-ups and kids?" Lucy nodded slowly. "Like how I have kid jobs like making my bed, and you have grown-up jobs like driving the car?" "Exactly," Samantha smiled. "Well, at school, there are also jobs for grown-ups and jobs for kids. Your job is to learn and play. There are other grown-ups whose job it is to clean the school." Lucy's brow furrowed. "But we were having fun cleaning. And Mr. Turner said we were helping." Samantha nodded understandingly. "I know you were having fun, sweetie, and it's wonderful that you wanted to help. But there are rules about what activities teachers can have students do in school. Mr. Turner broke some of those rules, even though she didn't mean to do anything wrong." Lucy's lower lip trembled. Is Mr. Turner going to get fired?" Samantha pulled Lucy into a hug. "I don't know for sure, honey. The school is still deciding what to do. But I want you to know that none of this is your fault. You didn't do anything wrong by playing the game or by telling me about it." As Lucy sniffled against her shoulder, Samantha stroked her hair, her mind racing. How could she help Lucy understand the complexities of this situation? "You know," Samantha said gently, "sometimes grown-ups make mistakes too. Mr. Turner was trying to do something nice for you all, but she didn't think about all the consequences. That's why it's so important to always be honest and open, especially with the people who care about you." Lucy pulled back, wiping her eyes. "Is that why you always tell me not to keep secrets?" Samantha nodded.
Exactly.
Secrets can sometimes lead to misunderstandings or people getting hurt, even when no one means for that to happen. As the days passed, the full impact of the secret game incident began to unfold. Mr. Turner was placed on administrative leave, and a substitute teacher took over the class. The school held a parent meeting to explain the situation and outline the steps they were taking to ensure nothing similar would happen again. Samantha attended the meeting, feeling a mix of emotions as she looked around at the other parents. Some seemed angry, others confused, and a few looked guilty. Perhaps they, like Samantha, had noticed something off but hadn't spoken up. Principal Thompson addressed the group, his voice grave. "I want to assure you all that we take this matter very seriously. While Mr. Turner's intentions were not malicious, her actions were a clear violation of school policy and potentially put students at risk. We are reviewing our procedures to prevent any similar incidents in the future." As the meeting progressed, Samantha found herself speaking up. "I think we also need to consider how we can better foster open communication between parents, students, and teachers," she said. "This whole situation might have been avoided if the children had felt comfortable telling us about the game from the beginning." Her words seemed to resonate with many of the other parents, and a productive discussion followed about ways to improve transparency and trust within the school community. In the weeks that followed, the school implemented new policies. Teachers were required to send home weekly updates about classroom activities, and a new anonymous reporting system was set up for students or parents to voice concerns. As for Mr. Turner, the school board ultimately decided not to renew her contract for the following year. While she was allowed to finish out the current school year under close supervision, it was clear that her teaching career at Oakwood Elementary was coming to an end. Samantha struggled with guilt over her role in Mr. Turner losing her job, but she knew she had done the right thing by speaking up. She used the situation as a teaching moment for Lucy, explaining the importance of accountability and the sometimes difficult consequences of our actions, even when our intentions are good. As the school year drew to a close, Samantha noticed a change in Lucy. Her daughter had always been bright and curious, but now she seemed more thoughtful, more likely to ask questions about why things were done a certain way. One evening, as they sat on the porch swing enjoying the warm spring air, Lucy turned to Samantha with a serious expression. "Mom, I've been thinking about Mr. Turner and our cleaning game." Samantha nodded encouragingly. "What about it, sweetie?" "Well," Lucy said slowly, "I understand now why it wasn't okay for us to do that in school. But I really did have fun helping to make our classroom nice. Do you think maybe we could do something like that at home sometimes?" Samantha felt a surge of pride at her daughter's mature perspective. "That's a wonderful idea, Lucy. How about we set aside some time each week to do a family cleaning project? We could make it fun, like a game, but without any secrets." Lucy's face lit up.
Yes.
"And maybe we could invite some of my friends over sometimes to help too? Like a cleaning party." Samantha laughed, pulling Lucy into a hug. "That sounds perfect. And you know what? I bet we could find some volunteer opportunities in our community where we could help clean up parks or other public spaces. Would you like that?" Lucy nodded enthusiastically.
Yes.
"And we could tell everyone about it. No secrets." As they sat there planning their new family activity, Samantha reflected on how much they had all learned from the secret game incident. It had been a challenging time, but it had opened up important conversations about trust, responsibility, and the importance of open communication. At school, things had settled into a new normal. The substitute teacher, Ms. Gonzalez, had proven to be a capable and caring educator, and Lucy was thriving under her guidance. The new transparency policies had created a more open and collaborative atmosphere between parents and teachers. Samantha had even received a note from Mr. Turner, thanking her for bringing the issue to light and apologizing for the worry she had caused. "I realize now that my desire to make learning fun led me to cross important boundaries," Mr. Turner wrote. "While I'm sad to be leaving Oakwood, I'm grateful for the lesson I've learned about the crucial importance of transparency and proper communication with parents." As the summer approached, Samantha felt a sense of closure. The mystery of the secret game had been solved, important lessons had been learned, and positive changes had been implemented. Most importantly, her bond with Lucy had grown stronger through their open discussions about the incident. Samantha knew there would be more challenges ahead as Lucy grew older. But she felt confident that the foundation of trust and open communication they had built would serve them well in facing whatever the future might bring. As the fireflies began to twinkle in the gathering dusk, Samantha gave Lucy a squeeze. "I'm proud of you, Lucy," she said softly. "You've handled this whole situation so maturely." Lucy beamed up at her mother. "I learned from the best, Mom. You always tell me the truth, even when it's hard. I want to be like that too." With those words, Samantha knew that despite all the worry and confusion of the past months, something truly valuable had emerged. They had all learned important lessons about trust, communication, and the sometimes blurry lines between good intentions and appropriate actions. And as they sat there, mother and daughter, planning their future cleaning parties, Samantha felt a deep sense of gratitude for the strong, thoughtful young person Lucy was becoming. The secret game was over, but the lessons it had taught would continue to shape their lives for years to come.
Disclaimer: this channel does not support or tolerate any form of discrimination, racism, prejudice, or violation of human rights. The stories presented here are original and created by the author with the aim of promoting reflection, awareness, and dialogue. All content is developed with respect for diversity and the dignity of all people.